Well, hey YouTube, how you doing? I've got a special treat just for you, 'cause you're special.
Like, really special. Special as fuck.
You're not special. Nobody's special. Nobody loves you. So the other day, me and my buddy, the Underground Metal Elitist, name drop, we decided to turn our brain muscles on and start talking about the universe and existence and life and our place in everything.
I'm gonna figure out what everything means.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, what makes two dumb metalheads think that they can tell me anything about existence? Two words for you. White motherfucking privilege. Hey, that was more than 2 words.
Check your privilege!
Shut the fuck up, white privilege. Anywho, so yeah, me and my buddy, who's a neighbor to the north, Hoser. Now that I'm thinking about it though, if he's all underground, but he's in Canada, which is technically above me, where does that put me? Fucking metal. So sit back and relax. It's gonna get so meta that it's gonna have intercourse with your eardrums with only tacit approval, not explicit.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? The Underground Metal Elitist is back here with another live stream, and I have a good friend of mine, Mr. Uncle Dan of Uncle Dan's Dumbassery on YouTube. Another person that I met through the YouTube community, which I'm very happy about. And tonight we're talking about a concept that a lot of people might not be able to wrap their heads around. Hopefully that's not the case, because I definitely want to shed some light on this subject. And this is something I touched on a stream that I did with Vin and Sori, as well as in the 2 veganism streams that I did, that I took a lot of crap for that too, but whatever. So the topic is the earth itself sentient? And Dan, I just want to get a little bit of insight into some of the ways that you might think it could be, and you know, your awareness of earth and what's going on with the human condition and stuff. And then I'm going to read the article, because this isn't a monologue. You are a guest here, so go ahead, weigh in on this a bit.
I think sentient might be an oversimplification, because if we're sentient because we have awareness of self, and if you believe from like the astrophysicists and, you know, the generalized scientific community of how everything started, we are a collection of the remnants of shit exploding and hitting each other and whatever. Like if you were to drop a light bulb on the ground, all that stuff on the ground, you sweep it up and put it in the garbage. That's just what we're made out of. So if we're made out of basically the cast-offs of things beyond, you know, our comprehension of existence, then how can we say, oh, well, it must be conscious? Well, no, if we're the garbage and we have this, what the hell does this whole thing have?
That's right. And that kind of ties into my opinion on nature being aware of all the actions that happen, Mother Earth being aware of all the actions that are performed on it, whether it's human or animal, whether it's plant related, whether it's the weather. I mean, if you really stand outside and just look around, it's pretty marvelous to behold what the earth actually is and the way that it sustains all this life. I mean, and then, you know, and I'm not trying to demonize humanity here, because a lot of people know how I feel about people. So I'm going to be very careful in this, because I don't want people to come on this channel and, oh, he's just a fucking misanthrope. I mean, but humanity has... Go ahead, Dan. What?
I was gonna say, you mean to tell me that like one of the biggest Slipknot fans in the universe think people equal shit?
doesn't think people equal shit. Well, yeah, I do. I do. But I want to digress a bit from that because, again, that can be seen as very linear and stuff. But what I'm alluding to is that we've been given this free will, this power. We've been given creative ability. We've been given the tools to fashion whatever we've created a lot of amazing things. We really have. Humanity has created a lot of amazing things, but in our quest for the Holy Grail, if you will, we've also left a lot of destruction in our wake. We've also left a lot of imbalance. We've also shattered ecosystems, biodiversity. We've affected countless wildlife with our industries and pollution and our need to create, where we're knocking down thousands of acres of forests in favor of human dwellings and businesses and fill in the blank. And we have no idea how many forms of life are affected by this until it's too late. And it just, I can't wrap my head around why people would rather be so selfish as to not consider what they're doing before they do something like that. And I understand that it's all because we're still learning, we're still adapting, we're still growing, we're not using 100% of our mental capacity, because if we were, this place, human life, would be a lot different. I mean, let's be real, it wouldn't be as fucked up as it is. There wouldn't be all this global division. People wouldn't be fighting over rocks, diamonds and minerals and money and all this other nonsense. So I just want to try and understand the human condition more than I do, because a lot of times my emotions get involved, and instead of really trying to understand it, I often get angry about it, and then I think that's why people might misinterpret my understanding of it and say, well, you're just bitter or whatever. They want to make it as easy as possible to understand where I'm coming from, and I probably make it look like it's easy to understand by resorting to saying, well, people are shit. So go ahead, Dan.
Well, you were saying, but we were just touched on consciousness, right?
Yes.
What do you define as consciousness? And I'm talking like, we'll just say consciousness. I mean, not afflicted to one thing or another, just generalized.
General consciousness to me is the experience of the passing of time and events and the perception of emotions and feelings based on those experiences, and self-awareness, and as well as the awareness of the connectivity of everything around us and how it's interconnected to us. It's an awareness of this energy and life itself, and being a being that can experience time, that can experience emotion, that can experience the five senses, if you will, and so much more. The essence of the creation of our thoughts and how we can create our thoughts. We can shape our minds and into anything we want, which then we can connect that to the subconscious mind, which then connects to the universe, which brings us anything we desire. If we're willing to work hard enough for it and persist, we can achieve anything we want. So consciousness to me is connected to the divinity and all the energy in the universe. I hope that explains it.
No.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, my generalized version of what consciousness is actually encompasses a lot of what you said, because I really think it all can just fall under the umbrella of having a sense of self.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have a sense of self, that means you sense your emotions, you sense the time passing you, you sense all that.
Yeah.
Given that we have a sense of self, and as far as we know, we're the only thing living that does have a sense of self. Yet, because we have a sense of self, we don't have a sense of the interconnectivity amongst us all. Then why would I assume that, we'll just say universe, planet, whatever, would exhibit that same thing? Because if it were conscious, it would have a sense of self, not a sense of so that's why I think there might be something that, I don't want to, I think consciousness might just, the idea of our idea of consciousness, to apply that to existence, I guess you could say, just, it's almost like it's, it's limiting, just because in our language is limited.
Right. It's
You know?
too vague. You're saying it's way too vague. It's too vague of a level of
I
understanding.
think it's,
Go ahead.
I
Yeah.
think it's too small.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. I guess when I say conscious, it's the way that I can relate what I think the Earth is seeing, if you will, or feeling based on everything that's happening, both in the animal kingdom and in the human world. I mean, and we're literally sucking the blood out of the Earth to power our vehicles. Because
And
oil that's the blood of the Earth. And in petroleum fuel, we don't need to use petroleum anymore. We're way beyond petroleum, especially from a technological standpoint. We don't need to be using petroleum anymore and coal, and we could be finding more economically sound ways of producing energy like geothermal, wind, solar. That's all possible, and it's possible to mainstream those types of energy sources to the point where it is economically sustainable, and it could replace hydropower. It could replace everything to do with the electricity that we need to power our homes. That can all be replaced. So it's just the fact that the money, it's not mainstream enough to produce a profit. So of course these ideas aren't institutionalized in the mainstream because it's the corporations that make all these fucking decisions. And unfortunately, that's the sad reality of the human condition and the way that our whole system has been set up, that we have to import everything. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
I was gonna say, besides, yes, there's a profit motivation to it, of course, but there is also, besides the profit motivation based on costing, cost versus sale. There are, we can look at it from Canada and U.S. perspective, being two very kind of well-off countries, going, yes, it can be economically feasible for us.
Right.
There's still places that don't have electricity.
Yes, I agree.
So
I agree.
Now, if imagine if we'll take society moving up the ladder of evolution, okay?
Sure.
We right now, we're like apex predators, but there's still towns and stuff that haven't walked out of the sea. So until they get to, until they get to the top of the food chain, it's almost a moot point, because that place is always going to go, well, let's see, do I want to eat this week or be environmentally responsible with my energy uses? No, they're like, holy crap, we got a lamp.
Yeah. That's a great point you bring up. I guess I don't have a problem with us using the power sources we're using now if it wasn't causing, like, when you set up a hydro dam, when a company sets up hydro dams, it's disrupting the ecosystems of that body of water, that lake, or wherever they're putting it's because what happens is the dam literally stops the water flow for so long that that water will die. And then everything that inhabits the water dies too,
I'm not by no means like giving it a pass, agreeing with it, or anything like that. I'm on the page with you.
Right.
But I think sometimes people use the evil corporation, profity, monopoly guy twiddling his mustache thing, when it's like, no, woman starving on the street with 4 children, that until they get past that, there is a necessity for it. Things don't go away until the necessity for it's gone. So we can wax philosophical about it all day, but unless we get rid of the necessity with them to have it, it's never going to go away.
That's true. And as much as I want to see a mass change happen immediately, I think that in order for these changes to be long term, it has to be incremental. And it has to be done over a length of period of time for it to be sound and for it to be fully embraced by people. Because as much as people, I mean, I'm one of the people that wants a revolution. I'm like sitting on a hilltop waiting for it to happen, you know, and I'll be fucking
Dude, you live in
pounding.
Canada. It's the nicest country ever.
It's actually, I would digress. I would disagree. I would disagree and say that Europe would be probably more ideal to live in than Canada, in my personal opinion. Yes, Canada does have its pros, but we do have a lot of cons here as well.
Hey, dude, I live on the south side of Chicago. We've had 3,300 shootings this summer alone.
Are you serious?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Fuck,
Have you ever heard the term Chirac?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Literally, that what if you live here? That's not joking. Like me and my wife visited some family down in North Carolina, and we were hanging out with one of their neighbors, and we could hear a shot go off in the distance. And me and my wife immediately just got nervous, kind of did a jump, looked around, and the guy started laughing. He's like, "Oh no, that's North Carolina, guys. People around here shooting all the time." Blah, blah. We're like, "Yeah," and we're from the south side of Chicago. When we hear shots, we duck.
Yeah.
It's not a hobby to us.
No, and you know, we can talk about the Second Amendment at some other point, because I think America's gun laws are way too loose. Like in Canada, you can't own a firearm if you have a criminal record for violent behavior. You can't own a firearm if you haven't passed a hunter safety course. You can't own a firearm unless it's completely 100% government registered.
See, but even just that, though, I think kind of lends credence to my societal evolution thing. Like,
right.
Obviously, something is wrong with the area that I live in if this is happening.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That means there is zero interconnectivity, except for part of the thing that was one bullet is now two. I've got one, you've got the other in your chest.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
a little bit.
We need this. We need to change everything about this system we're currently operating in, because it's not working for everybody. I mean, sure, it's the best we can come up with, but I think humans need to remove this veil that there's not enough to go around. And if we could start doing that, everything would follow suit and fall into place. But you got to get rid of the illusion that we're divided first of all. That is the first step, to get rid of this illusion that there's no such thing as peace, that it's not possible, that division is necessary because of people's ideology and their political beliefs, their religious beliefs, their moral beliefs, that people think have to keep us separate, could actually be the things that bring us together to overthrow the global elitists and the NWO and the central bankers, because those are the people that are running the fucking show. And if we could find a way to make that, to just blow on that house of cards, it would fall so fast. But the idea behind this is convincing that many people that it's possible. And that's a dangerous thing, because some people are completely happy with the way it is. So the challenge is convincing these people that there's a better way, when the way that they're already living in is all they know, so they think that it's fine the way it is. And that's where the division begins to happen, because when people can't agree on something, the ego takes over, and I'm fucking guilty of this. And we vehemently defend our right to think what we think, to feel what we feel, and that we're right and oh, you're wrong. And I think once you get rid of that, and you realize that we can all strive for the common good of everybody and everything involved, including nature, we could change everything a lot faster than we're giving ourselves credit for.
Now, while I'll agree with you that obviously something needs to change, because there's a I like to refer to things, existence, the universe, everything. It has to be kind of in a balance, okay?
Yes.
And things have slowly gone off kilter in the last, we'll say 200 years, 250 years. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'll agree with you that yes, something needs to happen somewhere. You know, something's got to break. All right,
Yep.
to start putting this, putting things back, make the teeter-totter equal again. But the idea of like some sort of like overarching like revolution thing scares me even more than our current situation.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like if you get enough, we'll say malcontented people together that can overthrow a system this large, how are you going to control that?
See, and that's why it would have to be done incrementally, because then people would be like, I have all this power. And of course, because of the years of oppression and living under the illusion that they never had any to begin with, you're right. You're absolutely right. There would be a lot of backlash from that. But I think once all the dust settled and people got that out of their systems, now the way they choose to exercise that power would definitely be a factor in with relating to exactly what you're talking about. And I think
Okay,
Go ahead.
it's like it's when you hear stories of people who are, we'll say, damn near impoverished, like family of three living off of like $20,000 a year, but
Yeah.
then they win 20 million in the lottery, but they go bankrupt in 2 years. Why? Because you just gave them something they didn't think they had. Okay, so if you have a bunch of people who think that they don't have any power in society, and they go, well, fuck this, I'm taking over society. Now they're going to friggin' play with it like a toy that, they just got, it's like a poor person winning $10 million doesn't know what to do with $10 million.
Right.
So they friggin' do it all wrong, and then it goes away badly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And it's because they don't have the right mindset for wealth. And my mindset is when I do get rich from doing YouTube and in my own entrepreneurial endeavors, I'm developing the right mindset for wealth. I already have plans for the money. I already am going to give a lot of it away to help people to make a difference. I've already planned all this out.
I mean, not just wealth, but wealth, power, influence, anything that you, in your head, you thought you never had access to, and now you do. You can't help. It's the same. To me, anyways, one of my theories on how people become drug addicts, because
I'm interested.
they don't know what, they're like, ooh, what's this? I want to try this, and they say, gateway drug or whatever. But it's like first time I smoked pot, I was like, holy shit, how have I not been doing this my whole life? Oh wait, because I'm 12. But and it's like, well, what's this? Well, wait, if they told me this was horrible, they say this is horrible. What the fuck is this? Holy shit, this is even better.
Right.
And it's you have something you never did, and you can't control how you use it when it's something that feels good.
Yeah.
It's that instant gratification thing that we all crave. That people post selfies on Instagram for, so people hit the like button because their shallow existence requires the dopamine hit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, it's good to meet somebody that is thinking, Dan. Dan, I really appreciate this. Because like it's now people may start to see that, oh, maybe this Chris guy, maybe this Underground Metal Elitist guy isn't so, maybe he's not an asshole like everyone. Like maybe we're wrong about him. I mean, okay,
no
fine.
problem,
a lot.
Dude.
Go
I am happy to supply you with the ability to have my reflective glory.
Yeah, but I mean, well, it's a mutual exchange, like I'm your friend now. We're going to be hanging out, you're in my group chat. You're a supporter of the channel. And that's the thing, is that I want to make sure that this YouTube community knows that, yes, I am very controversial. I'm not going to be the first. I'm going to be the first one to admit that. I have a lot of contrarian in me as well. But at the same time, I'm going to develop a better balance of, even when someone disagrees with me, and this is something I have a big problem with, is like you were alluding to in our chat, it's like you know, when someone disagrees with me about something I'm very, very passionate and convicted about, I get very angry.
Right.
And I think it's because the reason I get upset is because I wonder if they've considered what I'm talking about and what I believe. And if they haven't considered it, I guess I think that it's stupid. And then I'm like, well, then if you don't agree with me, you're stupid. And I know that that's a very totalitarian way of thinking, and it is. But I guess
Well, I think the last time that was expressed on on a macro scale, we called it the Dark Ages.
yeah.
See, it's you gotta, like I said, because we were talking. These guys who watch aren't going to know what we were talking about, but there's a place for debate of almost everything.
Right.
But when someone challenges something that is no longer a conceptual thing in your head, it's actually a deeply held belief and becomes orthodoxy. You have to be very, very careful with how you approach the person who is coming from a different point of view, because they're still coming at it from an area of ideas. Whereas to you, this is your truth now.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it goes, it's for every dang topic. I mean, you know, you have people, you know, like Catholics, Muslims, you know, Christians, you know, every one of those that hit orthodoxy. And that's why if you really kind of start digging, it becomes an emotional response, because you're no longer questioning an idea, you're questioning that person's sense of identity.
That's
right. You know, that's what it is. You know, if you were to, you know, come up to me and like start, you know, really digging in about my unusual manly obsession with unicorns, I will be honest, after a while it would piss me off, because,
well, of course, because
it's something that is actually more of a part of what I am than kind of like a, you know,
right.
There's meaning to it that I've internalized.
That's right.
Over the years, and you know.
That's right. And that's why I'm a person, and I'm gonna just piggyback off your point that debate isn't always a good thing. And I'm gonna highlight that a bit more here, because you are right. I am completely orthodox about animal rights, and there's no challenging me on this. There isn't, because if someone's gonna challenge me on veganism, they're gonna lose. Because
it's not debatable to you.
That's right.
The answer, the question, that debates are there because it's assumed that there's still a question in the air about the subject. To you, the question's already off the table. So there is no need to debate it anymore, because you don't have the question. You already have the answer.
Yes. And I mean, and as I've said, I said this to you, Dan, and I was very forthright and transparent with you about this. If somebody lets an animal live its life fully, completely, without any interference, treats it well, loves it, treats it like an equal, and then the animal's on its last legs and they euthanize it and they want to use everything and they're respectful about it, I got no fucking issue. Or if somebody raises hens and they want to eat free-range eggs and the hens have a great life and they're allowed to be chickens, I got no problem with that. It's the industry that I want to go after, is the animal industry, and the abuse, the torture, the suffering, the horror, the lack of quality of life that goes on in those places is absolutely horrifying. And for anybody that doesn't know about this, I hope you can stomach it. Because I watched the videos I've seen make anything out of any horror movie pale in comparison.
Oh no, my buddy of mine worked in a slaughterhouse for many years. He would tell me some shit that I was like, oh, what the hell? And he's like, I'm like, dude, why do you even work there? He's like, because it's what I got right now, you know? Yeah. But he was talking about most of his coworkers were absolutely fucking psychopaths. And they would tell him the reason they work the job there is because they love what they do. Like, you know, creepy, you know, pre-serial killer in the woods with a bunny type shit.
Exactly. And here there was an interesting study that I've looked into, where the effects of somebody working in a job like that where they're killing life all day, every day, every day, eventually embeds itself in their psyche, and they can develop psychopathic tendencies like you just alluded to. It's completely fucking possible. Because eventually what happens is when you repeat a behavior long enough, no matter what the nature of the habit is, that habit will become second nature, and it will override logical, conscious decisions.
You mean like prayer?
Yeah. I mean, like prayer. That was a good anecdote there.
Well, I'm not even actually. Yeah, a little funny, but I wasn't. I mean, that's not actually joke.
Okay.
Every behavior repeated.
Yeah. It was just ironic that it was fine. I just thought it was funny.
No, and I'm an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, but what I want to see is human beings find an alternative to murdering animals. Like this whole cloned meat shit. It's like it's full of GMOs, and there's good GMOs and there's bad GMOs, and cloning meat probably isn't good GMOs. And if people still want to eat that, but the animals aren't being harmed anymore or abused or tortured, fine. Eat your cloned fucking meat all you want. I won't say nothing about that. And I guess I can't attack people themselves for consuming meat. What I can attack is these industries and the fact that the knowledge is out there. And if people aren't going to look into how that meat gets to their plates, I would say that you might want to do some study on that, and you might want to consider doing that.
Yeah.
To understand where I'm coming from, it's necessary. It's definitely necessary. And if you can watch all that stuff and learn about this and still contribute to that industry, I would say there's something mentally wrong with you. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, I was just gonna kind of piggyback, but make a left turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right now, I'm looking at a device that is bringing my image and sound to you. That was made by a 13-year-old in China who earns 45 cents a week, and their factory just had suicide netting put around it because so many people are jumping off.
I heard about that.
They're losing productivity. So now these poor people who are so far at the end of the rope, they want to kill themselves, can't even do that.
I know.
Because we need phones.
Yep.
So yeah, horrible things. We're doing horrible things. For our food supply and everything like that.
Across the board. The board. Yep.
And I'm gonna say we do horrible things too, but only some of it's just for personal luxury.
Yep.
My grandparents didn't have cell phones, and my great grandpa never knew what a fucking cell phone was in his life.
Yeah.
You know what he did do though? He fucking stopped Hitler from taking over Europe.
Yep. Exactly.
And here I am. I'm lucky if I fucking can get to my car in the morning to go to work, and I call it a good day.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I got my phone.
Yeah. It's there's definitely been a lot of consequences to these so-called technological advances. Now, some of the technological advances throughout human history have been amazing, like the way that we're developing disease research, nanotechnology, the way we've been developing the ability to fight diseases and cure epidemics and all that. That's all good stuff. But on the flip side of that, nobody needs a 60-inch 4K TV. Nobody needs that.
And don't get me wrong, like, dude, if you really think about it, like, because you're what, 38, right?
37, be 38 in
37?
September. Yes.
Okay,
yes,
and I'm
sir.
39.
Okay.
When we were 5, playing outside, right?
Yeah.
Did we even, in our 5-year-old imaginations, play with a phone that isn't on a cord?
Fuck no.
How fucking mind-blowing is this now?
It is.
I have a thing in my pocket that I can call people with, so it's not on the kitchen wall anymore. But then at the same time, I can translate a funny limerick into Spanish, type that out, post it on this board, which is not it's not a board. I know what a board is. It's not
Yep.
actually a board.
Nope.
It's fucking ones and zeros in a computer system in
Yep.
California. Like, it's fucking amazing, right?
It is.
But
It is.
then we're like, we want it cheaper. Give this horribly, horribly amazing thing that no one ever would have thought could ever exist in humanity, make it cheaper.
Yeah. It's that whole.
Like, just that, even that, the hubris of that is astonishing.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's, you know, but I'm grateful for this technology because of you, because of you and I can communicate. I can talk to somebody halfway across the world, or I guess you're not that far away. Illinois is not that far from Manitoba. I mean, I could drive to you in like 24 hours, so it's fine. But it's a pretty marvelous thing that you and I can actually have a conversation like this over this medium. But I would prefer being in a room with you because we can't, our emotional need is not there. You know what I mean? That emotional transference of energy is not possible through a fucking screen. So even video conversations can get misinterpreted and people can be misunderstood.
I mean, even it just remove the human element out of it completely, right?
Yeah.
That still leaves you with the entirety of the world's knowledge up to this point can be accessed with your pocket, from something in your pocket.
Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous. It is. And I mean, while it's very awesome, it's also, I don't know if you realize, but there was a study done in the education system as a whole about how students are retaining 45% less information because they're using tablets instead of textbooks.
Mm-hmm. My wife's a teacher. She deals with that. Right now, they are having a clusterfuck of the beginning of the year because they were uploading new software to everyone's tablets and they didn't finish in time. So now all the teachers have the kids for this whole week with no books, no ways to teach them, nothing. So she just comes home every day like, I don't know what to do. Like, I got nothing. Because it's all tablets. Then again, going back to me and you being slightly older than most, how awesome would it have been to not have had to walk around with 40 books in your book bag? You know, I'm pretty sure most of my back issues stem from high school.
Right. But there's also a charm to that though, because I mean, while that was you know, a painful experience, you've got those memories.
Oh yeah.
Right? And that human element is there. You're like, man, I remember carrying 40 pounds of books, but you know what? I had a great time. You know, I learned, I was able to, and now that entire human experience is being cheapened and turned into this. It's all being turned into this damn thing in my hand, you know? And this is doing everything for us. It's absolutely ludicrous that we're relying on this shit so much. When how many people still go to a library? I do. I love reading books. I have all kinds of personal development books in my collection. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I have The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. I have You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor. I have the High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. I've got the Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. I have The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. I've got a bunch of Nightingale Conant's personal development audio courses on cassette, for crying out loud. And if I didn't have
my camera around a second.
It's all right, man. If I didn't,
I'm actually set up on the bookshelf.
Oh, wow! You've got a lot of books too.
Oh yes, sir. Let's see.
Nice Nirvana picture. I like that. It's framed too. That's dope, man.
Oh yeah, dude. All right. All my guitar rolls and stuff.
That's awesome, man.
All right. This is more some of my outer science fiction-y type stuff, with the exception of the Franz Kafka. Then go back up here. A little more kind of humory, philosophy of life type stuff.
Right.
If you've never read this, the Sinatra Way You Wear Your Hat book, read it. Holy crap.
Is it good? Who's the author?
It's Bill Zane. Basically, he interviewed Sinatra maybe 20 sometimes and just kept asking him about life, like life experiences stuff, right?
Wow, dude.
And he put together a book of like how to live your life based on what Sinatra was saying. Like, that's why it's called The Way You Wear Your Hat, because he goes in there about how you're supposed to wear your hat to present yourself to other people. It's great. All right. And we got some Dante's Inferno, Crime Dostoevsky, Burroughs.
Nice.
And my religious type texts, Bible, Rastafari texts, the Dharmapada, the Siddhartha, and then going on to Nietzsche and more Nietzsche.
Oh, you got some Friedrich Nietzsche, eh?
I've got all of Nietzsche. And Prince, Stephen Hawking, more Dostoevsky, Saul Alinsky, Ayn Rand.
What a tragedy when Hawking died last year, eh?
Yeah.
Or was it this year? Was it this year he died?
Here's the thing with Hawking though. He was so on the theoretical side of it that we can sit here all day and go, man, this guy was a genius. Right. We're not gonna know for fucking 2 centuries, He could have been just fucking with us this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think he's not that malicious though. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe he's like, all right, you know what? The universe put me in a wheelchair. Fuck these guys.
There's one of your kitties. Aw.
Pickles. Come here, baby.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Say hi, buddy.
What a sweet cat, man. I'm so happy you rescued him. That's great.
Yeah, he's great. He's a mad pimp.
Yeah, he's a mad pimp. Right on, man. Right on. So what I want to do now is I want to read this article that I dug up here on the Earth being a sentient being, and then people can weigh in on this. But I just hope that that people will take this seriously and actually consider this, because this is something. And the name of this website is thecosmosjournal.org. If you guys want the link, I'll put it in here for you. I'll put it in the group chat right there for you guys. Just going to read some comments here really quick. Sorry, I've been ignoring the comment section, guys. I just want to entertain my, interact with my guest as best as I can here. Demon Child says there are people out there who think that traditional medicines are better than the medicines we have today. I agree with that, but I need to get into that because I don't know that much about it. Kellendraw says, love the format of the show, man. You're doing a good job editing on the fly. Well, I'm not actually editing on the fly because I can't, but thank you.
We're just that good, dude.
Yeah, I guess we are. Yeah. And then Kellendraw says, the internet is great for connecting people, but you don't get that emotional connection that humans need. I agree. Kellendraw says, I wasn't even allowed to touch my house phone till I was 10. Awesome. And then some more comments about how people don't care about animals. Very true, and we know it. And then Ninja was saying that why is there war on Earth? Mostly because people fight because they want gold or valuable stuff. Why can't they just work together? Good question.
You threw me off with that pause there. I was like, why is there so much war on Earth? Is that because people fight? And then there's like silence for a second. I'm like,
yeah, no, I was just finishing the comment there. I want to make sure my viewers know that they're
and whoever wrote that, don't take it. I wasn't making a joke on you.
No, don't worry. No. And then Dan Mantle says, speaking of Hawking, his colleague Penrose had a scientific theory for panphysicism or panpsychism. Sorry, panpsychism. Nice. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. All right, so the Earth is a living sentient organism. This was written on June 28th of 2016 by Liz Bentley via The Mind Unleashed. Throughout history, the concept of Mother Earth has been a part of human culture in one form or another. Everybody has heard of Mother Earth. But have you ever stopped to think who or what Mother Earth is? Contrary to the common belief that the Earth is simply a dense planet whose only function is a resource for its inhabitants, our planet is in fact a breathing, living organism. When we think of the Earth holistically as one living entity of its own, instead of the sum of its parts, it takes on a new meaning. This is exactly how I think about the Earth, guys. Our planet functions as a single organism that maintains conditions necessary for its survival. In 1979, James Lovelock defined Gaia as, quote, a complex entity involving the Earth's biosphere, atmosphere, oceans, and soil. The totality constituting a feedback of cybernetic system which seeks an optimal physical and chemical environment for life on this planet. In May of 2015, a Swedish artist, Oscar Perenfeldt, formally proposed the international flag of the planet Earth. It was conceived to be used in space expeditions and has two main purposes. Number one, to be used while representing planet Earth, and number two, to remind people of Earth that we share this planet, no matter of national boundaries, that we should take care of each other and the planet we live on. Gee, haven't I been saying this the whole fucking time? The creators predict that it will be eventually used in Mars's landing in 2025 or in a future colony on that planet. The design of the flag consists of 7 rings intersecting each other and a deep blue sea in the background. The rings are centered on the flag, forming a flower in the middle, representing life on Earth. The intersection of the rings represent that all things on Earth are linked directly or indirectly. We talked about that, Dan. The rings are organized in a Bormerian rings-like fashion, representing how no part of Earth can be removed without the whole structure collapsing. Finally, the deep blue represents the ocean and the importance of water for life on Earth. Duh! Through Gaia, the Earth sustains a kind of homeostasis, the maintenance of relatively consistent conditions. The truly startling component of the Gaia hypothesis is the idea that the Earth is a single living entity. The idea is certainly not new. James Hutton that lived from 1726 to 1797 went on to say, who was the father of geology, once described the Earth as a kind of superorganism. And right before Lovelock, Lewis Thomas, a medical doctor and skilled writer, penned these words in his famous collection of essays, The Lives of a Cell. When viewed from the distance of the moon, the astonishing thing about the Earth catching the breath is that it is alive. The photographs show the dry, pounded surface of the moon in the foreground, dry as an old bone, aloft, floating free beneath a moist, gleaming membrane of bright blue sky in the rising Earth. The only exuberant thing in this part of the cosmos. If you could look long enough, you would see the swirling of the great drifts of white cloud covering and uncovering the half-hidden masses of land. And if you'd been looking for a very long time, geologic time, you could have seen the continents themselves in motion, drifting apart on their casual plates, held afloat by the fire beneath. It has the organized, self-contained look of a live creature full of information and marvelously skilled in handling the sun. John Nelson illustrated The Breathing Earth. Below, if you're on the website right now reading along with me, you'll see this, which are 2 animated GIFs he designed to visualize what a year's worth of Earth's seasonal transformations look like from outer space. Nelson, a data visualizer, stitched together from NASA's website 12 cloud-free satellite photographs taken each month over the course of an entire year. Once the images were put together in a sequence, the mesmerizing animation showed what Nelson describes as the animal pulse of vegetation and land ice. As the climate changes, the planet comes alive. Earth appears to breathe when ice cover grows and melts in and out, in and out. While frost radiates out from the top of the globe and creeps south in all directions, it travels through Siberia, Canada, and northern Europe, heading towards the equator located around the circle's edge, but ends before the top of Africa. The Mediterranean Sea is the visible body of water on the top left-hand side, and the Great Lakes make up a small network of dark blue shapes on the landmass to the right. The Earth acts as a single system. It is a coherent, self-regulated assemblage of physical, chemical, geological, and biological forces that interact to maintain a unified whole balanced input, between energy from the sun and the thermal sink of energy into space. In its most basic configuration, the Earth acts to regulate flows of energy and recycling of materials. The input of energy from the sun occurs at a constant rate and for all practical purposes is unlimited. This energy is captured by the Earth as heat or the photosynthetic process and returned to space as long-wave radiation. On the other hand, the mass of the Earth, its material possessions are limited, except for the occasional input of mass provided as meteors strike the planet, etc. Thus, while energy flows through the Earth, sun to Earth to space, matter cycles within the Earth. The idea of the Earth acting as a single system, as put forth in the Gaia hypothesis, has stimulated a new awareness of the connections of all things on our planet and the impact that man has on global processes. No longer can we think of separate components or parts of the Earth as distinct. No longer can we think of man's actions in one part of the planet as independent. Everything that happens on the planet, the deforestation, reforestation of trees, the increase and decrease of emissions of carbon dioxide, the removal or planting of croplands, all have an effect on our planet. The most difficult part of this idea is how to qualify these effects, i.e., to determine whether these effects are positive or negative. If the Earth is indeed self-regulating, then it will adjust to the impacts of man. However, as we will see, these adjustments may act to exclude man. Let that sink in for a moment. Much as the introduction of oxygen into the atmosphere by photosynthetic bacteria acted to exclude anaerobic bacteria. This is the crux of the Gaia hypothesis. Okay, I'm going to stop reading now. But, I mean, if you read all this, it's really not that other, out there to consider that this is definitely probably true. And I've felt like this for years and years and years, by spending a lot of time in nature and by, just having a greater connection with animals than a lot of people may or may not have. I mean, it's not that hard to think about. It's really not. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, I was gonna say, Aaron. Okay, for one, I didn't actually get to see get to see them, but I guess like the gifts or whatever of storms kind of going over the Earth, and like that taking that imagery and applying some sort of what am I thinking of, like some sort of meta amazement to it. Dude, our storms ain't nothing compared to what goes on in Jupiter.
I know.
Like Jupiter has hurricanes the size of our continents. Yeah. All right, that's amazing. If you want to talk on a we'll say solar system scale.
Yeah,
that is amazing. And then you compare our storm. It's like okay. As far as let's say we fuck the Earth up to a point where we can't live on it. Is that the Earth rejecting us, or us being fucking dumb and shitting where we eat? Yeah, you know what I mean? And let's say it is the former. Let's just say it's the former, and it's the Earth rejecting us.
Yeah.
Well, depending on how you view the solar system, I view it as a 10-planet system. Some people it's a 9. But okay, so the Earth rejects us. Well, that makes it one more of the 10 that wouldn't have us either. So really, we're only on 1/10 of our solar system, and then this one just went like, no, later.
Yeah,
it's just joining its friends.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably a combination of both. The Earth rejecting us and deciding, well, I'm going to exclude man because I got to make these changes, but it doesn't include man because I've had to adapt, because the Earth does adapt like this article outlines. But if it has to adapt to the point where it has to exclude us, because of our actions, then what you and I were talking about before about how the earth will do whatever's necessary to preserve all life. And if that doesn't include us, well, it doesn't include us. And I would say that that's probably going to be a lot of our own fault.
And then I'm always open to the option as well of an extinction level event happening.
Yeah.
It's already happened like twice, you know. I mean, me and you, you can go out and you can get everybody to stop eating animals, and I can go out and get everybody to, I don't know, fucking do shit, and we'll be, we're like, holy fuck, we got this thing going, and then a fucking meteor hits. It's like,
yeah,
okay, well, that throws a lot of the Earth manifesting its own destiny type thing. So, I mean, earlier I had talked about, the universe as a whole, right? Well, if the universe is the totality, the Earth is an appendage.
absolutely.
So, can you say outside of you, your finger is its own entity? Without a hand, is a finger a finger?
No, it's not.
It's just this really creepy thing on the ground with blood.
Yeah, and this ties back into my whole theory of the sentience inherent in all energy. I mean, the universe is another organism entirely. And what really fascinates me about the universe is we don't have any fucking clue what it even is yet. We don't, I mean, we don't know. I mean,
we know that.
What'd you say? It's big? Yeah.
Yeah, we know it's big. That's about it.
But, and then, I mean, and if some people want to suggest that there's no such thing as aliens, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
To assume that we are the only thing that was alive in the entirety of the universe that's been traveling at the speed of light for, was it like 500 billion years right now? No, not, you're just dumb. You're just being stupid. You're being egotistical. No, I know your book said a sky god made you special, but I'm sure he gave the guys over there a book too, and they think they're special.
Exactly.
But it's kind of like, when you're juggling two girlfriends, you really don't want them to know about each other.
I've never done that, but good. I like that euphemism though. That's a good euphemism. I mean, a lot of what you say definitely ties into the way that I think. And all I can say to people out there that might watch this video, that might not, just consider it.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. The same hubris that is causing people to destroy the planet, as you think, is also the same hubris that's causing people to not believe that there's something else other than them that might be alive somewhere.
I know. It's the ego complex, brother. I know. Yep.
So, it's people. I'm not going to say it. That's your line. But no, I mean, I can understand if you look at it, kind of as a whole, you can always personify things that aren't alive. You know what I mean? I personify my car. And if you look at my car, everything works in total for a common goal,
Yeah.
I think doing it on the scale of the Earth gives it credence for a lot more people, to say it's its own sentient, it's its own, intelligent entity. But I mean, and very well may be it. Like I said, because I made the finger analogy. Sure, if it's an appendage of the universe, it's not entirely on its own, but you know what? It still has nerves.
Yeah.
So, if that made any sense, I don't know. I thought I just might be rambling.
No, it does. It does make sense. I mean, but for anyone out there that thinks they're just living on a rock and that it's just here for their consumption, please don't have children. Please don't breed. Okay, you could think what you want, but if you're not going to open your mind to these things, I don't want you to breed, please.
Now,
Go ahead.
you know what? I see. I wish, honestly, that article, if that article then would have taken that beginning, though, and then dovetailed it into explaining the symbiotic relationship between us and the Earth, I think it could have really hit a nerve on that.
It actually does, because
Oh.
I'll continue here. I just was getting tired. So,
Oh, sorry.
okay. No. I wanted to address the comments. I wanted to let you talk because, like I said, this isn't a monologue. Your input's just as important. Okay. Where was I? No longer can we think of separate components. Okay. The homeostasis regulated by the Earth is much like the internal maintenance of our own bodies. Processes within our body ensure a constant temperature, blood pH, electrochemical balance, etc. The inner workings of Gaia, therefore, can be viewed as a study of the physiology of the Earth, where the oceans and the rivers are the Earth's blood, the atmosphere is the Earth's lungs, the land is the Earth's bones, and the living organisms are the Earth's senses. And I cannot believe it's like they're taking the fucking words right out of my head. Lovelock calls this the science of geophysiology, the physiology of the Earth or any other planet, like you alluded to, talking about Jupiter, talking about our solar system being an appendage, Earth being an appendage. This all ties into what you were saying as well, Dan. To understand how the Earth is living, let's take a look at what defines life. Physicists define life as a system of logically reduced energy. Life is the battle against entropy, randomness in the universe, for anybody who doesn't know what entropy is. Molecular biologists view life as replicating strands of DNA that compete for survival and evolve to optimize their survival in changing their surroundings. Physiologists might view life as a biochemical system that us able to use energy from external sources. I think that's supposed to say that allows us to be able to use energy from external sources to grow and reproduce. According to Lovelock, the geophysiologist sees life as a system open to the flux of matter and energy, but that maintains an internal steady state. Beyond the scientific importance of what we have discussed here, we might do well to consider some of the more poetical thoughts of the originator of the theory. If Gaia exists, the relationship between her and man, a dominant animal species in the complex living system, and the possibly shifting balance of power between them are questions of obvious importance. The Gaia hypothesis is for those who like to walk or simply stand and stare. To wonder about the Earth and the life that it bears, and to speculate about the consequences of our own presence here. It's an alternative to that pessimistic view which sees nature as a primitive force to be subdued and conquered. It is also an alternative to that equally depressing picture of our planet as a demented spaceship, forever traveling, driveless and purposeless around an inner circle of the sun. The strong Gaia hypothesis states that life creates conditions on Earth to suit itself. Life created the planet Earth, not the other way around. I agree with that as well. As we explore the solar system and galaxies beyond, it might one day be possible to design an experiment to test whether life indeed manipulates planetary processes for its own purpose, or whether life is just another evolutionary process that occurs in response to changes in the non-living world. End of article. So, in alluding to your point about the symbiotic relationship, I think that pretty much covers it. I mean,
yeah. I don't like some of their analogies though, but yeah, I think that's just me personally. Like saying that the water is the blood of the earth.
Mm-hmm. And oil.
No. What about lava?
Yes.
And it's red.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Not only that, but like water can still be water because like people are 70% water.
Yes. Yes.
But there, little things. That, and there was one thing from the first part that I forgot to touch upon that actually kind of really threw me for a little bit when they were talking about the
the international flag of Earth, so that way when we go into space, we can prove that there's, it's one Earth and no borders and da 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 da. Are you fucking high? We got to space because of fucking borders. We were racing with another country.
I think what they're alluding to is more destroying the illusion. Yeah, you get it. Okay.
But
yeah.
it's just like, it's because, you know what? Because had they been like, yes, we know how we got here, but what if going forward we did this, The way it was kind of written, it was like very idyllic, like...
Yes, I agree.
Not acknowledging the flow.
Right. The variables that you're talking about
Yeah.
how we got to space because we were willing to compete with another country. And I mean, I do agree that maybe borders do have some kind of motivation for us to do better, but I think it's also one of the main things that divides the human species is this illusion that we are divided. And I think that is something that really needs to change for the benefit of everything,
Before, I guess, the idea of even, we'll just say private property or just a nation state in general, I mean, we didn't have borders, but we still had us and them.
Mm-hmm.
There's always us and them, without borders. With with an ocean between us, and we know that they're there. There's still us and them. The guy across the street from me who starts up his damn '67 Corvette every Saturday at 6 o'clock in the morning because he's having a midlife crisis. He's a them. I want to sleep. Fuck you.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
There's borders and that. They're going to be an us and them.
Yeah.
Again, I digress.
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely, there's definitely a lot of variables and intricacies to consider, but I think if the human species is going to evolve to a point where it's sustainable over another however long we've been here, if we want to keep going, we can't keep going like this. That's for damn sure.
No, I mean, no, it's not even like, from a moralistic standpoint, like, oh, we can't keep doing this. No, literally, we can't sustain this.
That's right.
But, and we've made it to this long because of the slower growth of population over time, and then we exploded it. Well, you know what? Maybe cutting some of the fat around here, that might not be a bad idea at times. Take it over, Mother Nature. Give me a volcano.
Yeah.
Later, California. Learn to swim.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this has been great, Dan, and you definitely helped me learn a lot about this subject, and it was great to glean your insights and definitely listen to another person that's thinking. That's a good sign,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was like fucking born with like this genetic disorder where I have thoughts in the brain.
Yeah.
But, I read. Speaking of, but again, going back to like this wouldn't have happened without everything we got going on technologically and whatever.
I know.
But we're getting dumber because we're smart, because our things are smarter.
That's right.
Dude, there's a town in fucking Germany that put their fucking don't walk signs on the fucking ground because people are fucking walking, looking at their phones like that.
I know.
And people are walking into fucking traffic.
Yep.
So you know what?
It's ridiculous.
Maybe Mother Nature doesn't have to fucking get rid of some of us. We're doing it well enough on our own.
I know.
If you get hit by a fucking car because you were too busy tweeting to look both ways before you cross the street, bye. Don't need you.
Yeah, I agree. And I could just see the comment section blowing up after us both agreeing on that, with people go, well, what about this? And well, what if this? There's no what if. If you're stupid enough to walk into traffic on a fucking phone and you get hit by a car, don't blame the goddamn driver.
Here, I'll answer every fucking what if comment with one shot. What if blank? Okay, if the next thing after that has to do with someone doing something fucking stupid and then bearing repercussions for that thing, good.
Yeah, I agree.
Done.
I agree. I mean, you don't walk into traffic on a goddamn phone.
No.
You don't drive a vehicle on a fucking phone. I don't even walk and look at my phone. I mean, if I'm getting a call or something, yeah, I'll stop and talk. Or, if it's something important, I'll stop and then I'll do what I got to do, put my phone and keep walking. I don't walk and use my fucking phone.
Well, but that goes back to, us growing up with, phones on cords, so we couldn't fucking walk. So the act of walking and talking on the phone isn't ingrained in our heads.
No, it's
we
not.
We stop for conversations. Maybe sometimes sit on the ground.
I'll sit down. Yeah, exactly.
But the other thing too is because we didn't grow up like that, we were taught to look both ways before we crossed the street because we were looking for cars.
Yep. We weren't looking for who tweeted us or who Instagrammed us. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh my God, I just got a geo ping. Sally's nearby. Where? Oh, is she in that truck?
Yeah. It's yeah.
All right, brother. Well, hey, this has been a fucking blast, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
We'll do it again. As I said, I'm trying to keep getting people for panelists for the other podcasts I want to do. That one about essential metal, and you're invited to that one too. So yeah, just let me know when you're available. And
you put me on that one. I'm gonna piss everybody off.
That's fine. That's fine, man. There's no censorship on my fucking channel. So, all right, bro, you have yourself a good night,
buddy.
Man.
Bye.
Oh, I don't know where my cats are.
You just fat belly.
Out somewhere. All right, man. Take care. Cheers.
So, were you impressed? Because I got to tell you, I was a little impressed. Like, I worked 16 hours that day, and when we started the podcast, I'd already been up for like 26 hours. The fact that I made words is impressive.
It's actually, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
Anywho, go check out his channel. I'll put the link in the description. Oh, wait, you can't read. That's why you have to watch things on YouTube to learn. Well, I'll see if I can make it a drawing with crayons. And just so you don't feel bad about yourself, I'll even color outside the lines every little bit. And hey, like, subscribe, share, all that fucking, like, YouTube shit that everybody says, whatever. I already got you to watch the fucking thing. I'll find another sucker to watch the next one.